Good morning, everybody. I'm here, and it looks like we're just about ready to go. I have no idea what's going on with this flickering, so I'm trying to figure that out right now. I'm guessing something electrical. But I don't know. Good to see everybody. Been a little bit. Scott McCray in the house. What's going on? I have not heard a main event for that card in Nashville yet. It is good to be going back to Nashville, though. Good city. Fun city. Definitely deserves to be hosting an event. Morning, Zach. Lucid in the house. Hopefully that flickering is going to go away. I don't see it anymore. Bizarre. I'd been set up all morning. Everything was good to go, and then it just started doing that all of a sudden. So trying to make sure none of my cables are touching or anything like that. So anyway, UFC Fight Night, Dern versus Hill. Weigh-in set to get here started. Mr. Brendan Fitzgerald just off to my left over here. He'll be handling the MC duties today. Wonderful Heidi Dean sitting just to my right this morning. We're here at the Santa Fe station. So apparently there was some stuff going on at the Apex. They had some other stuff booked. So instead of the weigh-ins at the Apex, we are out here at the Santa Fe station, which has been host of a couple recent weigh-ins. This is my first one getting out here. A little bit north of town. So that's where we are. Of course, fights tomorrow at the Apex. Dean is getting everybody lined up with UFC operations. Security's getting in place. So it looks like we'll get this thing started pretty quick. Kind of a remote hotel if you've ever been to Las Vegas. It's up north a little bit, Santa Fe Station, so not much within walking distance. I say that only because I don't think the fighters probably have a whole lot to do other than cut weight, so maybe we'll have a big run right off the top here. We'll see. Fighters definitely getting in place. Oh, no. Did Diego Ferreira have to? Oh, no, it's pulled back. Whew. For a second, I thought, what's up, brother? For a second, I thought, how you doing, brother? Good, good. For a second, I thought Diego Ferreira had to cut his hair. We just pulled it back. What's up, man?
How are you? I think I have it over here. I hope. I remember.
Just didn't acknowledge it. It's the top sheet of that paper over there. You're welcome. All good. It's okay. I'm used to it.
Oh, I thought you were like, I'm used to it.
No, see, I didn't even do
Heidi Dean
I didn't even do
cracking
that.
on Brendan Fitzgerald over here. Looks like we're ready to go. Morning to now.
We're ready.
Let's get things started.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the weigh-ins. First to the scale this morning, Temba Orimbo. Official weight 170 pounds for Temba Orimbo.
Thank you, back.
Next on the scale, Diego Ferreira.
Really? Okay, we'll move it around.
Official weight 154.5 for Diego Fajeda. Next to the scale, Gilbert Urbina. Official weight 170 pounds for Gilbert Urbina.
There you go, baby.
Next to the scale, Natalia Silva. Official weight 124.5 for Natalia Silva. Next to the scale, Vyacheslav Barshov. One 54.5, the official weight for Slava Claus, Vyacheslav Barshov.
Every time I turn the mic down, it starts talking louder.
Next to the scale, Mackenzie Dern. Official weight of 115 pounds for Mackenzie Dern. Next to the scale, Victoria Leonardo. Official weight 124.5 for Victoria Leonardo. Next to the scale, Emily Ducote. Official weight 119.5 for Emily Ducote.
Don't forget that was a catch weight bounce and not a miss.
Next to the scale, Takashi Sato. Official weight 170.5 for Takashi Sato. Next to the scale, Chase Hooper. Official weight 156 pounds for Chase Hooper. Next to the scale, Nick Fiore.
Hands down.
Official weight 154 pounds for Nick Fiore. Next to the scale, Joaquin Buckley.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it, y'all.
Official weight 170 and a half for Joaquin Buckley.
Which way? Blah.
Next to the scale, Michael Johnson. Official weight 155 pounds for Michael Johnson.
Done. I'm so thirsty right now.
Okay, so it looks like that'll bring us to our first break of the day. To recap, one half of the main event is in Mackenzie Dern at 115. She was not the first one on the scale, so not that that matters much, but the headliners do get priority if they check in early, so may have just been a few minutes behind. Obviously, we're just 10 minutes into this, so we have not seen Angela Hill yet. We have not seen our co-main event. Emily Dakota did come in at 119 and a half. That was a 120-pound catchweight bout. Lupi Godinez stepped in on short notice. We have not seen Lupi yet, but 120 on the catchweight. Joaquin Buckley, 170 and a half. I'm telling you, I talked about it on the road show this week. After media day, for a guy that is cutting down the welterweight, I was really worried that Joaquin Buckley was going to have a tough cut. I mean, the dude's pretty shredded in middleweight, right? So, like, where's the weight going to come off? But, man, he's been full of energy all week. His media day interview was phenomenal and really saying all the right things, but you could tell he had plenty of energy as well. So that gets really, really intriguing. Waiting to see Andre Fiallo as well. Diego Pereira, Michael Johnson kicking off the main card. That is official. As far as the prelim goes, still waiting on Mahashate, Vanessa DeMarcos, Carolina Kovacevic, Ryan Kolsky, Ilir Latifi, and Rodrigo Nascimento, who will likely invoke the Andre Arlovski rule and come in at like 10:30 before we do the face-offs here.
Stadiums everywhere.
So far, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're at about half. Got about half the roster right off the top. What's going on, everybody in the chat this morning? Appreciate you guys. Umar and Sandhagen did hear that that's in the works. I did not hear that.
Next to the scale, Rodrigo Nascimento. Official weight 264.5 for Rodrigo Nascimento.
Appreciate the heads up. I don't have my headphones on. I was trying to be quiet in here. But we'll bring it up. Appreciate the heads up, Richard Nugget. I left my headphones on. It's been a while since I've been at a weigh-in, so I forgot to grab my headphones, so I couldn't check my own audio levels. I can't control Brendan's mic. I turned that thing way down.
And then, but it was the nicest hotel in town. What, like, you know, and so, which is insane. Like, so it's just one of those things. And then across the street there was a bar, old school. And this is the funniest thing. It was called Old School. Like, the bar was called Old School. And
hopefully that sounds a little bit better. Let me know. I tried to adjust the volume there, adjust my own personal volume.
The Thursday, it must have been. Oh no, it was the.
I have not seen Brett this morning here. I don't know if I can go give him a wedgie, manish. Otherwise, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to give the man a wedgie anyway.
2018.
He's a good dude. I don't think he comes to the early weigh-ins for fight nights that often. Me and Brendan need to switch mics.
I was so new. This was my third event, so I'm still like just baffled that like you could just go on the road and go to the bar, hanging out like.
First time I've ever been accused of being too quiet. Oh, saw that flashing again. That scares me. Stop doing that. Ah, you make a good point, Scott. All right, looks like commission getting back in place. But yeah, no, that would be a good main event. It's a weird one, right? I mean, props to Sandhagen for taking it. I mean, I always respect anybody, and he's always been that way, right? Where he kind of says, you know, people should have to fight everybody, but you got to respect guys like that who are willing to say, hey, I know, you know, somebody's a little further down the rankings, but I'll take that fight. You got to give him respect for that. And look, that helps you down the line too, because you know the matchmakers remember that stuff. That hey, you were willing to put yourself out there. You know, I mean, look, Umar's 11 right now, so it's not exactly like he's out of the top 15. Okay, hold on, here we go. Back to action.
Next to the scale, Mahashate. Official weight 155.5 for Mahashate. Next to the scale, Edmund Shabazian. Official weight 185 and a half for Edmund Shabazian. Next to the scale, Lupi Godinez. Official weight 119 and a half for Lupi Godinez.
Yeah, Edmund's been out in Las Vegas for a while, a little over a year now. Putting in work at Extreme Couture, working with Dewey Cooper. Lupi, again, reminder, that is the 120-pound catchweight fight, so not a miss there. Both fighters come in at 119 and a half. Saw somebody earlier right before start. Oh yeah, man, who do you think headlines Sydney? That's interesting, right? Because the timing of everything and how it happens. I think it's going to come down to, letting some of these fights play out and seeing who's okay, who's good to go. I mean, the names that they're going to definitely want in there. But some of them have fights lined up, so can they be ready in that time? We're going to see. She's taller than 4 feet, but she's not big. Yeah. Alonja, I thought the same thing. We were talking about that in the media room on media day. I thought that line would be more like a pick 'em, to be honest with you. A little bit surprised. I saw that, Richard Noggin. That's awesome stuff, man. Pretty cool. Congratulations to you and your nephew, man. That's pretty awesome. Not a lot of people can say that they get signed by an NFL team, And like you said, a little bit of a battle for position, but man, to even get that opportunity, that's, what, 0.0001% chance you get the chance to even go out for the NFL, man. That's awesome.
Overtime in the regular season is amazing. It's fantastic. It's just like banana land. And usually it's sport.
Yeah, MP, I agree, man. I'm looking forward to this fight a lot. Like I said, I was really surprised to see Edmund with such a dog in it, man. I thought, to me, this was more of a pick 'em type fight, but we'll see. I did not hear what happened to Hakeem. I did see the change up, and I know there were some other issues going on, but I did not hear specifics. I would imagine it had to be injury, otherwise he's in that card. I saw the switch up, but I did not get specific information. But like I said, can you imagine any reason he wouldn't want to fight in Canada? Yeah, Equanimous, we're talking about Edmund Shabazian, who switched teams there. Moved from LA to Vegas. He's been in Vegas like a year. I was joking with him the other day about like living at the PI, because every social media post I see is like him at the PI. I was like, do you just live there now? And he was like, kind of laughed. He's like, I know you're joking, but yesterday I was there from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Like, he was at the PI for 8 hours, getting a couple different workouts in, getting some food, getting some rehab done, some massage, all that stuff. So, and then he's working with Dewey Cooper. All right, looks like we're back to action. I saw Andre Fialho peek his head around the corner.
Next to the scale, Andre Fialho. Official weight 169.5 for Andre Fialho.
I think that fight's going to be a lot of fun. Fialho and Joaquin were both talking about being more mature and a little more patient, but I think once they start swinging, I think that's going to be fireworks. I'm looking really forward to that one.
Next to the scale, Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Official weight 115.5 for Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, they both of them were like, yeah, we know, got to be a little bit more patient with it. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. But Andre was funny too, because with Buckley, we were kind of talking about the weight change and all that. But with Andre, first of all, like you said, he was fighting. Like Rich and I were saying, the guy was fighting every week for a while. It's been like 6 months. He said it was a good 6 months off. Really assessed his losses and realized he was trusting too much in his boxing, too much kind of one-dimensional approach of just like trusting his chin and trusting his hands, and realized like I can't fight that way. So he wants to be smarter about it. And then you had Buckley, who was saying, kind of same thing, like learning how to really manage the fight a little bit better. But I still think once they start throwing down, like that's all going to go out the window. Somebody said something up there earlier on it. Oh yeah, Zach said Capaldo's at the PI in Extreme. I did not know that. I haven't been over there in a while. Been so busy lately. I need to get over to Extreme. I haven't been to a practice in a while. I need to get over there. Face-offs is, usually it's 11 a.m. Sometimes they can do it earlier. If they finish the weigh-ins earlier and they happen to have a matchmaker here and everybody's in place to do the face-offs, sometimes we'll do it a little bit earlier. Kowalkiewicz does look good. You always worry a little bit, right, when they're talking about maybe retiring.
I was just like, let me just get my phone. I didn't even really know if I was going to use the footage or anything like that. And
that move to ATT is good, but tough one to Vanessa Demopoulos. Talked to Vanessa a couple weeks back. She actually moved camps as well. She's up at Factory X now. Obviously a great camp up there. Mark Montoya, a phenomenal coach. She said she's really fitting in up there, so we'll see if that makes an impact to her game as well. Oh, my bad. Kevin Holland, of course. Colostrum, finally getting Wiley versus Lemos. I know that made you happy. You were looking forward to that one. I thought she was going to get jumped over, to be honest with you. I thought they were going to go for the all-Chinese battle, but maybe they'll save that for, when they can actually go do an event in China. Now, of course, it could be Lemos that wins, but, maybe you could still go to China and at least you'd have a Chinese challenger there in a title fight. We'll see. All right. Since Kevin Holland is asking, /A, here's who we're waiting on at this point. We're waiting on Angela Hill, so still waiting on one half of the headliner. We're waiting on Anthony Hernandez. We're waiting on Vanessa Demopoulos, Orion Koski, and Ilir Latifi. So really down to just 5 fighters left at this point, a little bit less than half hour in. Again, I expected Ilir Latifi and Rodrigo Nascimento to each invoke the Andre Arlovski clause when you're a heavyweight. Come in at 10:30 because the face-offs aren't until 11 anyway, but Rodrigo Nascimento made a liar out of me, and he already weighed in at 264 and a half. You know, Dern or Hill's interesting. You know, initially just stylistically, I would think Dern, right? I mean, that's been problematic. You know, grappling has been problematic for Hill over the years, right? But Hill says, look, that's what I've been working on. I feel much more comfortable in that place. And Mackenzie Dern was incredibly honest about all the kind of turmoil that she's dealing with, right? She was talking about her divorce and how tough that is. And I mean, obviously divorce sucks for anybody that's ever gone through it, especially when there's a kid involved and you got to start splitting time and stuff like that, man. Like, that's hard for anybody, right? And she was talking about that. And she mentioned the fact that, you know, Jason Perillo spent, I think she said, like a month with Luke Rockhold getting him ready for that BKFC appearance. So she didn't have him for a lot of camp. I think, first of all, I respect the hell out of the honesty that she was not trying to make anything up. They're just saying, here's what I'm going through, here's what I've had to deal with. She actually kind of said it forced her to take more of a tactical approach to her training and just kind of game planning and the mental side of it. So she actually addressed it as almost like a positive. But I know a lot of people, I saw comments online that were watching the media day scrum and that sort of stuff were like, oh, that's not good. So, you know, you got Hill who says, I've been working on my grappling, I punched in the grappling. And Hill was, honestly, she kind of just dismissive of Mackenzie's striking. You know, she was like, I think I have way more opportunities with my striking than she does with her grappling, you know. So stylistically, I initially say Mackenzie, but all those caveats that you just talked about, you start leaning towards Hill. So I'm torn on this one. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Seems like you guys are kind of split too. It's hard. I can definitely see both. Deny wanted that battle for China. I think it's still a possibility at some point. Yeah, you got to think Pennington's up there next. You know, Amanda Nunes just finished writing a piece on her for Fighters Only. Shout out to my man Simon Head over there. And I was talking to her, and she brought up the fact that, you know, maybe there's something at 145 cooking, which if that's the case, I would think Norma Dumont. But she also mentioned Rocky as well, you know. So, you know, she said, hey, I'm gonna and by the way, she did say, I'm not looking past Aldana at all. She actually seems to have a lot more, I want to say respect. I mean, I know her and Juliana have been at odds, so maybe no surprise there that she was kind of dismissive of Juliana. She likes to match up with Aldana. Feels like she deserves it. As she said, it was the original opponent. But, you know, she did say, and I think she said it in that press conference as well, that she intends to keep defending that 45 belt as well, which she hasn't done, I think, in, it's been 2 years, 3 years now since she's defended that belt. But she kind of suggested maybe there's a name at 45, which, like I said, I'm assuming would be Norma Dumont. But otherwise, yeah, I think Rocky would be next. Oh, I'm seeing this note from Richard Noggin. How cool is that? My nephew's best friend was a top wide receiver, 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, and they got signed to the same pro team. That's cool. That's really cool. Hey, man, that's some chemistry that you don't, you know, you can't fake that. So could translate on the field, man. That's cool. Oscar Ramirez, we went through it, but we're just waiting on 5 people at this point. So quite a few, just half an hour in. Chatri would have felt threatened. I don't think Chatri feels threatened by anything. That man has confidence. Michael Johnson by KO. It's a good fight, too. I mean, Diego Ferreira, obviously, he's had those setbacks lately, but he's had a long time away as well. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You know, he healed up some injuries. But Michael Johnson fighting as good as ever right now. Enjoyed talking to Michael. I mean, I like both those guys a lot. Diego Ferreira is a great dude, and Michael Johnson, man, 13 years in the UFC, you know, covering his career for 13 years, and you see these guys grow up. You know, I think of him in the early days, he would show up with those like wild hats on and just crazy and having a good time, and now he's talking about doing real estate and putting money aside and not going out and and fighting as good as ever. Equanimous. I am leaning Dern, but gosh, it's a pick'em fight to me, man. It really is. All those things that are going on. I mean, just if I know I'm getting both athletes at 100%, I'm probably taking Dern just because the grappling has been a problem for Hill over the years. But she does, as she says, she's got as much as Mackenzie Dern has a grappling edge, she's got a striking edge. Angela Hill's much slicker, much faster, much smoother. And she says she's been, doing nothing but jiu-jitsu and working in tournaments and stuff like that. But, gosh, Mackenzie, I mean, literally growing up on the mats, Can you make up that difference in a couple of training camps? I don't know. So, but, again, Mackenzie open and honest and talk about all the strife that she's kind of had to deal with. Kind of a weird camp. So is she 100%? Is she coming in here at 100%? I don't know. Oh, MJ getting specific with it. Michael Johnson, second round KO with a right hook. Man, put some props down on that. Big Ben. Always good to see you, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, I do need to get on the show for sure. I'm working on some things. It's been hectic, but I'm working on some things. Hopefully free up some of my time. Elijah still got an hour and 25 minutes. So still plenty of time. 5 people left to weigh in. No concerns whatsoever right now. Far too early. For those that maybe just joined or need a little recap, I'll give you one real quick. The fighters that we're waiting on: Angela Hill, Anthony Hernandez. So, only 2 from our main card, but half of our main event, half of our co-main event. And then the prelims, we're waiting on Vanessa Demopoulos, Orion Koski, and Ilir Latifi. Ooh. I have been. Well, they're all starting to come together, perhaps. Big Ben. Mahashate versus Slav. I like that fight a lot, too. Because, Slav has obviously shown some grappling deficiencies. He's learning on the fly. He says he's working on it. But Mahashate seems like the kind of fighter that's going to want to stand and trade, even though he knows, where the potential weakness is for his opponent. Damn, this flickering. See what I can do here. Hopefully no one's going into a seizure. It's weird. I've never dealt with that before in all the times we streamed, and I'm assuming it's like some kind of electrical interference. Richard Noggin, no, fighters don't get a check every month to live on. There have been some situations like that over the years where guys kind of got a stipend or whatever, but no, they got to fight to get paid. So that's the eternal struggle of the fighter, is that, you know, man, you get this check, and, you know, obviously those starting checks aren't that much, but even once you start getting a little bit paid, like let's say you make, you know, let's say you're making pretty good money, you're getting like $100,000 a fight, and that's good money. But by the time you pay your taxes on it, by the time you pay your trainers on it, by the time you know, pay your training partners, whatever, pay your management, you know, all of a sudden that is a significantly less amount of money. You know, maybe even down to 40% of that. Which, okay, 40 grand. Let's say 40 grand net, and that's one night of work. You're like, oh, 40 grand for one night of work, but it's not one night of work, right? It's all that training camp to get in there, and now you gotta ration that money until the next paycheck comes in. Which anybody that does contract labor, I mean, they're understanding of that, right? But especially if you're a young kid or you never had that kind of money in your hand before, you may be like, oh, I got 40 grand, like, let's go. Now, if you're making 100 a fight, you've probably had some experience at that point. But still, you know, you get some money in your hand, also, you're like, oh, I can go to the club, I can go party, like, I can go do this, I want to take care of that, let me go buy this car, let me go do that. And then all that money's gone. And that's the really hard part, is like, now you're preparing for a fight, and what if you get hurt and you can't compete? And now you're expecting to make that paycheck and you're not. So it's tough, man. It's really tough. You really have to be financially disciplined, and because, yeah, you're not getting that monthly payment. Is Francis Ngannou the biggest free agent to come to PFL? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Now, and this, you know, this contract for Francis is awesome, man. You know, it sounds like everything he wanted, he got. You know, he's getting paid. He's making sure his opponent is getting paid. That's cool. That's going to attract some high-level free agents, I'm sure. More importantly, I think, is, you know, this kind of equity in the company and a position. I mean, we're just sitting here talking about how difficult it is to get paid. You know, you got to, and now obviously he's going to make a couple million, so you would hope he could stash some of that away. And, you know, coming from nothing the way he did, man, I'm sure he's been fiscally responsible for everything. But he negotiated himself a job after fighting, or in addition to fighting, which I think is awesome. What's going to be tough, though, is, you know, I think the PFL, it's going to be difficult for them to profit off this. Now, they've gotten themselves a hell of a lot of attention. I'm sure they're willing to take a loss. You know, it's a loss leader. Hey, we'll lose some money here, but we're gonna bring, look how many eyeballs we're gonna bring on us. But it's gonna be tough for them to make profit on that. So. And Shay, happy to give it to you.
Good.
Harlem.
Next to the scale, Angela Hill.
She snuck up on me. Didn't see that. All right, other half of the main events here.
Official weight 114.5 for Angela Hill.
Man, trying to check my connections there. Sorry for that, guys. Never seen that flickering like that before. Trying to check all the connections. Make sure nothing's touching it. It's crazy. Like a house party up in here. The Undertaker's coming in. All right. Fingers crossed, we're in a good spot. Pantoja submits Moreno. Whew. That's a good fight. Looking forward to that one. McGregor sleeps Chandler. Ooh, then sleeps Dustin, and then comes to BKFC. Now that's some bold statements there. Look, I would not be shocked to see Conor do BKFC at some point. Not in the near future. Obviously, he's under contract with the UFC, and the UFC is going to defend that contract with the utmost of legal authority because of the value he brings to the table. So, I don't see any way out of it. But, when he climbed into the ring in there and did that face-off with Mike Perry, like, I know it was all kind of good nature, and Mike welcomed it, but, when Conor says, like, I could see myself doing this, like, I 100% think he would like to do it. I mean, he loves any form of combat, and I think BKFC, he'd do it. So, there's some financial hurdles and obstacles to overcome, but maybe you co-promote an event, you give him, I'm sure BKFC, like, they can wheel and deal a little bit, So a couple years down the line, he fights out his contract. Maybe they say, hey, we'll give you half the pay-per-view revenue or something like that, There could be a way to make it happen. I know, it's annoying. I'm trying to check it out here. It's got to be something with the actual wiring and physical connection because the stream is good. The Wi-Fi here is not good, but I'm streaming from my phone, and I was getting really good speed. So it's something with the physical connection. Killing me. Now I'm just starting to disconnect stuff. It's getting crazy. I'm wondering if my video converter's failing. Sorry, I'm unplugging some stuff here, trying to fix this. Never seen it happen before. Something's good. set myself up for a joke there. It's me to tell. Yeah, it's weird, man. The lines are definitely, it's not the stream, it's definitely like something on the hardware end, but I'm trying. Never seen it. Oh, Harlem said flickering could be caused by drivers too. Yes, streaming through a MacBook. It's my Canon DSLR running to a Blackmagic video converter and into my computer. I guess it could be the port. Maybe I could change the port. Troubleshooting on the fly. I'm going to change some more. Body Snatcher. Here's who's left. And for anybody else, too. Anthony Hernandez, Vanessa Demopoulos, Orion Koski, and Ilir Latifi. That is it. 4 left. Still an hour and 10 minutes. That is killing me. Yeah, Ben, sorry, I unplugged I was changing the ports on the audio and video inputs, seeing if maybe there was a faulty port or something. Yeah, cold coffee on the other side of the room over there. I can't using the troubleshoot. Oh, man. Oh, I see you, Richard. Just switch to his video, but keep your audio up over here. He's not talking to nobody over there. Thank you, big man. I know, I feel bad. Somebody's definitely going to end up passing out or something if they're watching this. All right, I just disconnected the HDMI. We're trying again, so we'll lose audio for just a second. I'm trying not to jinx anything. No. didn't say anything about this. All right. We're just going to pretend it's like the weekend. Oh, damn it. Looks like I'm having some troubleshooting to do at home after this thing. Yep, jinxed it. Yeah, I can't figure it out. I've never had to deal with this before. Alex. A's just trying to get bumped out of here, huh? Crazy. I have no idea how much this pains me, but I guess we just deal with it. Stipe and John, yeah, I think they'll fight. I just always knew the summer was going to be too aggressive. And everybody was like, maybe International Fight Week. I just knew from the start that probably wasn't going to be. It takes longer than that to get things together, but. Yeah, Stipe does have it's a great fight. It's a great fight. You know, been a while for Stipe. Is everything good there? You know, hopefully. If so, it's a great matchup. He's definitely going to have more of a wrestling defense than Gon did. I don't think John's going to be able to just walk through him the way he did Cyril. So I'm hopeful that matchup comes together. You know, I mean, maybe that's your, John said it. What about Madison Square Garden? That would seem to make sense, right? Because, I mean, with Conor, it's kind of looking like Conor end of the year. So maybe that's a Vegas show end of the year. And maybe you do John and Stipe, Madison Square Garden. Because obviously those MSG shows, man, you want to have the biggest main event you can. Because the revenue, the gates that those things. Now, Madison Square Garden is an incredibly expensive arena to do business in. I'm not even going to look at the screen. Just the chat. That's all I'm looking at. It's an incredibly expensive arena to do business in, but you can also charge those high-end prices and generate those massive gates. So I think John and Stipe, heavyweight champion of the world, you know, arguably the greatest of all time against the most accomplished heavyweight champ of all time. You can market the hell out of that, and that'd be a big New York main event. Ooh, that's a good question, MJ. Prime Kane was special, dude. Prime Kane was special. Just that ferocity, that intensity, that pace. That's hard to beat at heavyweight. Yeah. You know, it's funny. I mean, if anybody remembers those chats leading to that fight, I was pretty confident John was going to win against Cyril Gane, and that's no disrespect to Cyril. I just have that level of respect for John's game. I know a lot of people may not necessarily like John as a person, but I mean, when you see what he's been able to do throughout his career, like, he's incredible. So I thought he was going to win. I did not think he was going to win like that. And you could see the frustration in Cyril. Like, I mean, he was severely frustrated. And I love it. I love that he's been addressing it, right? Like, he's saying nothing but wrestling now and just going to work on that. So that's awesome. You know, that'll just make him a better fighter. But I will say, man, you know, when they got in there on Fight Night, I was like, oh, Jesus, Cyril looks huge. But John's right there. I loved it, man, the drama of that first press conference, that Fight Week press conference. I remember I tweeted the night before because I was thinking about it. Like, you know, John always does that look down at the ground during the face-offs. But every now and then he'll switch it up, you know what I mean? I think he looked at Rashad, if I remember right. But I remember thinking, I was like, I bet he's going to look at him just to prove a point. Like, here I am, eye to eye with you. And he did, you know, and it's like, oh, okay. You know, this size difference doesn't mean nothing. Like, I'm just as big as you, you know. Made sure to come in a half-pound heavier, right? I mean, that's how petty John is, which I love. So, yeah, but I love the idea of John Stipe, man. I want to see that a lot. Yeah, Big Ben. I know a lot of people don't like John Jones. I totally understand that, but he's a beast. Kolosha and Pavlovich could absolutely beat Jones. He's got the power to do it. Seems athletic enough. I don't think we get that. I honestly think John fights Stipe and that's it. You know, Sergey would be dangerous. It's still early for Jailton, but gosh, man, does he look good? But I just don't think John wants to fight a whole bunch more. You know, I think he wants to. If he beats Stipe, at that point, there's nothing left to prove, right? It's just how long you want to stick around. Colossian, the advertisements at least will help you not pass out, so the screen's not flickering. So think of the advertisements as saving your health. Shelton versus Spivak, I like that. Jones versus Tyson Fury. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I like all the back and forth. It's fun. You know what I mean? And I get why everybody writes the stories and puts the headlines, because it's fun, right? I mean, it's just the biggest names in the sport talking to each other in two sports, you know, calling each other out directly and talking about stuff, but that's not going to happen. I mean, none of the elite level boxers are going to come try MMA. And, you know, we've seen how it works out when mixed martial artists face elite level boxers. It's a different sport. They're two different sports. And I don't think anybody's going to walk into the other realm at the highest level and be victorious, unfortunately. Yeah. And you know what's funny, Richard, is like, I respect Tyson for saying that. Like, I'm sure he believes that, right? I always say that, like, don't call a fighter cocky or say you don't like their attitude because they, like, sorry. A little interaction on the side there. But you can't say that they're cocky. I mean, you have to have the utmost confidence to get in there with another highly trained athlete that's hell-bent on giving you physical destruction, right? But, yeah, I mean, Tyson Fury is not winning a mixed martial arts fight. And I mean, if you want to call it a real fight, because that's what a mixed martial arts fight is, right? I mean, I guess there are rules. So if we were to say straight up street fight, I think a street fight way more resembles a mixed martial arts fight than it does a boxing match. Now, does John Jones win a boxing match against Tyson Fury? Hell no. No. It's been my whole thing, you know, I've talked about this a couple times. It's been my whole thing with Francis Ngannou. Like, I would love for him to go get that payday, right? Like, I want everybody that does the sport to make the most money they possibly can. So I would love for him to go get that big boxing payday. But I don't necessarily like his chances there. But none of those boxers, you know, I mean, if you add in clinch and wrestlings and takedowns and leg kicks, so they wouldn't survive. Yeah, I agree, Big Ben. You beat Stipe. That's a legacy. John Jones would lose to Kane, JDS, and Verdum at heavyweight in their primes. Possible. They'd all be good fights. If they were prime era stuff, it'd be good. Big Ben, do I run into Shawnee Mack at all? I see him every now and then. Not very often. Because since they're like partners with the UFC, like they have their own spot in the back, so I don't see him very often. Yeah, boxing is a lot different than MMA. But the whole thing is like you have to respect their art too. You know, if you want to say it's us versus them or whatever. I mean, you have to respect boxers as well. Like mixed martial arts is not being an elite level boxer. Just won't. I mean, if you did it 100 times, one could happen because it's a fight and anything can happen. But it's just the reality of the situation, and that's why these crossover bouts, like the whole thing about Conor and Floyd it was like two cultural icons clashing at the time. You know, like the outcome to me was never really in question, if I'm being honest with you. And I said it in the lead-in. I was like, look, Floyd's gonna win this fight, but it was the spectacle of it all. You know what I mean? Like just the mind-blowingness of like, what am I seeing? Conor McGregor in boxing gloves and boxing trunks, and holy God, he's in there with Floyd Mayweather. Like, what is going on? It was just, but like these continued crossover bouts don't have that much appeal to me, if I'm being honest with you, because it just doesn't seem like the. Now, here's a weird one. Nate and Jake Paul, to me, is different, right? Because Jake Paul is a bit of a novice boxer, right? Like, he's taking it serious. He's improving, and he's a great athlete. There's no question about that. So I'm not saying, you know, I'm not trying to knock Jake Paul or anything like that. Like, first of all, I hell of a respect to his hustle and what him and his brother have built. But just as a boxer, nothing more as a boxer, like, you can tell his commitment and passion and love for it, and he's like training properly and trying to do it right. But he's not champion of the world. If it was Nate Diaz versus the champ of the world, I wouldn't be that intrigued by it, because I'm like, same thing we're sitting here talking about. But now it's Nate Diaz against kind of a novice boxer who has a big size advantage on him. See, that actually intrigues me. I find that competitive. I didn't see that. Colostrum as Yair beating Volk. Woo! Yair looked good last time out. Tough to pick against Volk right now, though, right? Tough to pick against Volk. But Yair looked good. Yeah, Ben, it's funny with Jake Paul's fights. Like it's been a roller coaster for me. Some of his fights intrigue me, some of them don't. There's been some that I couldn't wait to watch it and see what happened, and there's been others that I just to be honest, didn't even watch. Just did something else instead. This one I'm actually intrigued by. And a lot of it's probably just because it's Nate. I mean, obviously Nate's such a legend in our sport. But again, the competitive nature of it's interesting to me because, as you said, it's not like he's an elite level boxer. Yeah, different breed. Volk's a different breed, man. What a run it's been for that guy. Incredible, man. He started coming up. That's when back when I was still traveling to like every event. I was down in Australia for some of those fight nights, and you know, he was just getting started. Show up wearing his suits, and oh man, you could tell he was going to be good. But good Lord, man, he's just taking it to another level. Nate and BKFC. Whew. I could see him trying that at some point. It climbed as Tommy Fury winning made me believe it is not rigged. Yeah, see, there you go, MJ. Jake Paul against Canelo. Does not interest me in the least. At all. No. Alex, nobody looks like they're about to walk right now. But that can always change. But there's no commission in place right now, no security in place. So it looks like we're still on break for a little bit. I guess to recap for everybody that is waiting, we're just waiting on 4 people at this point. From the main card, all we're waiting on is Anthony Hernandez. Everybody else has made weight. Ducote and Godinez, both 119.5, but remember that was scheduled as a catch weight, so no miss there. We've had no misses at all yet. From the prelims, we're waiting on Vanessa Demopoulos, Orion Koski, and Ilir Latifi. Big Ben. See a lot of these guys coming to the dark side.
I mean, look, as long as the big paychecks are there, they're going to do it. You know, talking to Ben Rothwell recently, and a lot of the people, I think, Mike Perry, talking to these guys, it's interesting because when you talk about BKFC, the fights themselves, obviously you see the cuts and the damage and stuff like that. And a lot of it's just kind of superficial damage. It's not like you're seeing massive facial restructures or anything like that. But certainly you see the cuts and the bruises and the swelling, and it looks pretty visceral. But what everybody says that makes the move from MMA is that the preparation for it is so much easier because the training camps that you put in are not nearly as hard on your body, and that's where the real injuries and wear and tear on your body comes. It's not in the fights itself; it's in those training camps, right? And with MMA, you got to do all the wrestling, all the jiu-jitsu, in addition to your striking. And when you're getting ready for BKFC, you're just doing boxing and you're doing cardio, and so your body, everybody that's made the jump over there says how much better it is, and believes that it can, as damaging as it may look on as a fight, that believes it can actually extend careers. It believes it can actually extend careers because the preparation in the training camp is so much less treacherous on the body. Including me. I will get to an event. I started to make it out for the pay-per-view in Colorado, but I had a ton of other stuff going on. I couldn't pull the trigger on that. But yeah, I need to make it to an event. I love watching. I'll make it to one. Come do one in Vegas, Big Ben. I'll definitely be at that one. Yeah, Ben, I'm not particularly squeamish or anything that's going to look bad, but where I'm like, oh my God, it's terrible. What are they doing to themselves? But you see it, the cuts, the bruises, like everybody, even people that win look like they're beat up. But as you said, it's just kind of, it's a lot. It looks worse on the surface than it really is, and that preparation is the big part. Yeah, Eddie against Mendez, boy, that was a great one. What a great fight that was. Phenomenal fight, man. Those two warriors. I mean, love the careers of both those two guys, but I thought Chad Mendez was going to win, and that's no disrespect to Eddie, but what concerned me was that, the thing we think about Eddie is he's a damn warrior because he gets hit and he doesn't stop, but I was like, ooh, Chad's popping some power in there, and, bare knuckle, can he take those shots? But, man, what a hell of a fight that was. Shevchenko versus Nunes 3. You can't do Shevchenko versus Nunes 3 right now, can you? I mean, does it have quite the luster? Like, she's got to get the belt back first, right? Before you even look at the trilogy? Unless she's making a permanent move to 35, which I don't think is the case. I mean, there's a big size difference between those two. Yeah, that's an interesting one, right? Because they're still who they are, right? I mean, Shevchenko and Nunes still are who they are. They are still the most dominant champions of their divisions. I mean, Amanda has beat every other champ that's ever held the belt at 35, which is crazy. Anybody else that's ever held that belt, she's beat them. And Shevchenko, we know the dominant run that she was on, but I don't think you can do the trilogy without it being champ versus champ. I mean, you could. You can make any fight you want to make, right? But as far as like it being successful and being an in-demand fight, I think it's got to be two reigning champions. Oh, look at that. Two back-to-back comments there. Equanimous. No way in hell Nate loses to Jake Paul, and then right after Alex says Jake will destroy Nate. See? When it's like that, that's when I get intrigued. When people have differing viewpoints, and even myself, I can see it going both ways, that's when I get intrigued. So I'm actually intrigued by this one. It would seem to me that Nate has to survive the opening barrage, not get clipped by the big shot. And if he does so, and extends Jake Paul to the later rounds, that's where he really sets in as an advantage. Yeah, no, I'm not saying the loss MJ kills him. I'm just saying you got to get it back first, right? Like if Valentini comes back and gets the title back, then you just go, oh well, everybody has a bad night, right? That's what Amanda has said to the first loss. Like, I had a bad night, but look what I did in the second time. Come back and win decisively, then you do it. But I think it has to be champ. Yeah, Eddie is the best. Eddie Alvarez is awesome. We've gotten to run into him a couple times out in Philly when we go do CFSC shows out there. Always a pleasure talking to him, man. If Burns won, they could have had him and Shavkat for the BMF. Keep it at welterweight, Matt. You know, it's funny, man, and the BMF seems like such a polarizing thing to people. It doesn't. I mean, when they first announced it, when it was Masvidal Diaz, I was like, what? What are we doing? We're just making up belts? But then by the time it was Fight Night, I was like, whatever, it's fun, man. You know, you got The Rock in here, and it was a cool-looking belt, and, you know, I didn't mind it so much. And I don't mind it now either, to be honest with you. Is it necessary? No. But like I was talking on the road show this week, I'll take a BMF belt over an unnecessary interim belt any day of the week. Like, does it mean anything? Not really, but it's fun. And if you're going to have two people fighting for the BMF, like, they did pretty damn good the first time around with Masvidal Diaz, but Poirier and Gaethje, like, I mean, two of the fightingest son of bitches you'll ever have, right? Like, come on. This next weekend of break, Alex Bona, there's no UFC next week, but there is a Fury Professional Grappling on UFC Fight Pass next Saturday night from Philadelphia's 2300 Arena. Myself and CM Punk on the call, so we've got a couple UFC names on there, a couple CFFC names on there. So we'll still keep things going for you. So it's a little bit of a break. One championship will still have their weekly Friday morning series, and then we'll have you on Saturday night. Big Ben definitely deserves, the Cowboy definitely deserved to be. I mean, the man lives on the BMF ranch. I mean, you should just get an honorary BMF belt. Nah, Alex, it was never meant to be like a title that's actually defended and pushed on and passed on. Like, it's just a made-up thing. It's a made-up thing. It's like, look, man, we're getting Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje too. I mean, let them fight for a pink tutu, dude. I don't care what they're fighting for. Like, we get to see those two fight. So don't worry about what hardware comes along with it. It just makes it fun. We got you, AP. We got you. Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards. Covington is going to be a tough matchup for Leon, but you would think that with Usman too, right? But Covington's a problem for anybody in the division, man. His cardio, his wrestling, it's a problem. So, but Leon, man, operating with confidence, back-to-back wins, you know, over Usman. I think you can't doubt Leon anymore, but stylistically it's a challenge. All right, looks like we're getting back to action. 4 fighters left. We'll see how many of them we got here. Quiet, Big Ben. Don't you talk about the flickering.
I didn't. House cat for the next 3 months. Huh? guys dragged me over here. You're not even ready.
Don't worry. Just kidding.
Exactly. Did they really?
Yeah, their show moved from Vegas.
I didn't know that.
They got picked up. It's simulcast on
Yeah.
TV, but they got picked up on.
Next to the scale, Anthony Hernandez.
Good for them.
It's all over. Saw Ian Gary's whole body.
Official weight 186 pounds for Anthony Hernandez.
That's awesome. I mean, if you live in Vegas, Phoenix is a good place to move to, you know what I mean? That's awesome. Yeah. That's cool. Good stuff. Right. Yep. Yeah. Awesome. That's cool. Good for them. Good. It's not easy, short flight in and out. It's awesome. All right, let's see. What was your last comment above?
Oh, really? How old? 19?
Let's see. Who would technically be the BMF title holder? Would it be? Was it? Oh yeah, because the Usman fight was right after it. Yeah, the Usman fight was right after Nate. So yes, I guess the lineal BMF title holder is Leon Edwards. But come on, tell me, Poirier and Gaethje aren't two BMFs. Tell me, who would be more deserving to fight in a title like that?
I'm excited that this happened, and like I'll just put it in your chat.
All right, so for anybody just joining and needing a recap, that was our last main card fight with Anthony Hernandez at 186. So the entire main card is set. Again, if you see results that show Ducote and Godinez at 119.5, don't worry, that was pre-scheduled as a 120-pound catchweight because Godinez stepped in on short notice. So right now we're waiting on 3 fighters. Still got 38 minutes left or so. Vanessa Demopoulos, Orion Kofsky, Ilir Latifi. Ilir Latifi, obviously, is going to come in at like 10:30, so I'm not really worried about him. But Vanessa Demopoulos and Orion Kofsky, we'll see. All right, let's see. Hold on. Nate Wall, Leon, and won the war. That's funny. Oh, who you got between Ikram and Costa? Ikram's a problem. I was really surprised to see that matchup, to be honest with you. Really surprised to see that matchup. What a jump for Ikram, but I think it is absolutely winnable. Are there any early odds out on that? Let me see. I feel like Ikram should be the favorite, but maybe he just doesn't have the name value yet. Looking on best fight odds. And otherwise have like some future lines. I guess they don't have him yet. That was not big enough yet. God, I think Ikram's the favorite though, right?
Yeah, too many questions, but I'm looking forward to it. Richard Noggin, look at that. How are you going to eat a 3-piece in the soda, take the belt from the guy who force-fed it to you? That's Jorge's belt. Yeah. Hey, that was one and done. Big Ben, I don't know what quote did I miss? Let's see. Hold on, let's see. Read my last comment above. All right, I'm looking. Your last comment above is what's happened to the flickering. Oh, here we go. The only person in opinion deserves to be on the title is Cowboy. Is that the one? Yeah. I hate to see Cowboy walk away. I'm so happy to see him go in the Hall of Fame. Definitely one of my favorite fighters. I think for the longest time, like one of my favorite fighters of all time. You know, people always ask, who's your favorite fighter? It's tough, man, because you get to know so many of these guys and girls, and they're your favorites for different reasons, you know. But Cowboy, man, covering his career from the WC on, he was just involved in so many fun fights, you know. And I get it. If you're kind of a newer MMA fan, you might be like, oh, he's not that good, blah, 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 blah. Like, whatever, that's fine. He was really, really good in his prime, and was the anytime, anybody, anywhere guy, man. Like, he was the dude that lived that life, man. And, Cowboy will always be one of my favorites. I'm so happy to see him go in the Hall of Fame. Probably, I think my answer to that now, who's my favorite, is probably Arlovsky. It's just the guys, man, when you cover their career for so long, and God, I mean, I've interviewed these guys, 20, 30, 40 times. And I always say, like, as a journalist, when you're covering these fights, I feel like we're documenting, like, a chapter in their life. These fight weeks, yeah, it's one fight week to the next for us, but, God, they can remember those moments in their life so vividly, right? Because it's such a huge part of their life. And I feel like we're documenting all that, and we kind of you get to know him a little bit. Like talking to Michael Johnson the other day, man. Been covering his career for 13 years, and you look back on it and like all the fights that he's had. I mean, so much emphasis is placed on, you lose and you suck, you're not that good or whatever. But like, that's not the way the sport was built, man. It was on like just go out there and test yourself, man, and win or lose. Of course, you can't lose every fight. You got to win some to stay relevant, but. To me, man, it's not just about, who went out there and won every fight. It's about who went out there and just effing fought, man. Like, like when you see somebody's name, the Cowboy used to say this, and I loved it, man. He used to say, I want people to know that when they see my name on a fight card, they got to find a way to watch. That, whether they're, pulling it up at home, going to a bar, pulling over on the side of the road in their RV, they're going to watch. And those, to me, are my favorite kind of fighters where you're just like, dude, when that dude's in, I'm watching. Oh, I didn't see that one, Ben. Yeah. I'm hoping. There's a small part of me that hopes that fight takes place in England, because I probably won't travel over there for it, just so I don't have to deal with it. It's just annoying. Folk Mahashev 2. Nah. I don't need to see that. I don't know, Jay. You want to see Volk Islam 2? There's something to me, and I get it. The champ versus champ fights are awesome to a degree, but I like seeing champs that clear out every contender. Like, man, when Demetrius was at the top before he left, like he had beat like everybody in the top 10. When you're starting to run out of people because you're like, well, he's already fought that dude. Like, I love that. A champ that's cleared out everybody. And I do feel like, to me, and I know Conor was the one that kind of ushered in the champ era, and people measure greatness that way. But to me, like, you don't have to measure greatness through winning a title in another division. Like, sustained dominance of division. I mean, look at what GSP did. Look at what Anderson did. Sometimes you're just better suited for a certain weight class. So, it was a great fight. I enjoyed it. I don't necessarily need to see it again. Yeah, West Coast. Maybe that's just me, but like, I mean, I know, right, like John Jones. John Jones is moving up to another division, and now he's building that legacy, right? But but he dominated a division for 10 years first. Not, hey, I won the title and I defended it once and now I'm going up to be a champ. Or, in Conor's case, not even a defense, right? Like, just immediately go up. And it's cool, like, those iconic images, Madison Square Garden. And Conor's he's one of a kind, right? I mean, biggest star in the history of the sport. But to me, greatness isn't that I beat one champ one night and I beat another champ the other night. It's I beat a champ, and then for 10 years, I took on the top contender every time, and nobody could touch me. That's greatness. Haha, man, I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. Kobe versus Jorge in Miami in the BKFC. I'd like to see that. Set up the cage outside Poppy Steak. That would interest me. That would definitely interest me. West Coast 100. Yep. That's the way it's done. All right. Half hour left. Vanessa Demopoulos, Orion Krovsky, Ilir Latifi. That's who we're waiting on right now. No misses yet. Everybody else is in. Boss rooting the best liver kick. Boss is a legend, man. My understand. Boss is a legend. I mean, there's probably a lot of people now that only know him from like as a personality, and he's a legend at that too, right? I mean, the energy that he brings is unbelievable. But man, he was a monster. When I first started watching MMA, like I watched a lot of Pancras. I used to order those tapes from Full Contact Fighter and get those VHS tapes shipped over and just watch them over and over. And Guy Mesger, Frank Shamrock was dominating over there. Gosh, man, Minoru Suzuki, Masakatsu Funaki, like those were the days. The Boss was a monster. I think Cold Coffee jinxed anyone's weight for this week. I feel like he did. I can't remember who it was, but I think he did. But hey, Joe Rogan has that liver kick too. Giga's liver kick. Still waiting to hear on that, right? I talked to Giga not that long ago, and he said the UFC had mentioned Ortega. Obviously, Ortega needed to get cleared first. But if Ortega get cleared, they were talking about doing that. Be a great fight. Don't be Googling names. I was just sitting there. Bro. I think, to be honest with you, let's see, I was probably 93, 94 when it started happening, and I was like 16, 17 at the time. Like I think, long story, but I still have those VHS tapes are still, I think they're still at my mom's house. There's been a couple times where she's like, can I throw these out? I'm like, hell no. All those, they had the red cover on them, man. I had all those. I used to order everything from Full Contact Fighter. I love that. It is pancreas, not pancreas. Pancreas is a organ. Yeah, I used to love that stuff, man. Yeah, still have all the VHS tapes. I don't remember the last time I owned a VCR. I don't know how I ever watched them. Now they're all on Fight Pass. There's some of them that are funny, like, gosh, I want to say it's like, it might even be like Boss and Frank. They only have one camera angle of it. Like, they only have the overhead camera. So the whole, The whole the whole thing on Fight Pass is literally just one overhead camera angle. Ooh, Mosar. Gosh. A good matchup there. There's some good ones, man. He's legit.
You gotta put always thinking of you. Somebody coming?
I'm gonna get. Would you put the fight back together? I mean, would he be willing to do that? I wonder, because we were all excited about that, right? Until it got switched. So would you put the Mitchell fight back together? You know, he might be looking at that as a move backwards. But I like that. Oh, Allen. Okay, so you're going way up there. Yep. Yeah, Dan Hooker will be back.
I do this for passion.
Have not heard about Arizona.
Of course, I want money. I'm gonna learn from you. I'm gonna get my computer out and set up my page.
All right, looks like we're getting back to work. Oh, there's Mr. Latifi.
Next to the scale, Alir Latifi. Official weight 249 and a half for Alir Latifi.
We called that one. We said 10:30. He came in at 10:34. But that's the play when you're a heavyweight. You're not cutting weight, because otherwise you're just gonna have to come back and get ready for the face-offs. I like the matchup, Mosar and Topuria. I'd love to see that, but I know Topuria's got Emmett coming up, so can't put that together. Oh, excuse me, sorry. So you can't put that together right now, but I like stylistically. I think that'd be a fun fight. Allen's not a bad one though. Izzy, man. It's interesting because like this tension between him and Dricus du Plessis and Izzy, like, I mean, you could see the anger in Izzy's eyes when he starts talking about him. Like, that's not manufactured. So part of me wants to see that, because like rivalries, when they're real, when there's some, like, it just adds to it, right? It just makes that much more interesting. But I will be honest with you, I worry about the build up to that fight being awfully ugly, considering what the rivalry is based on. So I'm kind of torn on that one, because on the one hand you got two dudes that clearly, well, at least one dude, the champ clearly hates the challenger. I don't know if the challenger feels that way, but he certainly hasn't been shy about saying some things that he knew would be inflammatory. But that could get kind of nasty. Ilir, the sledgehammer Latifi. Just a brick house of a man. Good to see him back. Topuria too much for Mosar? Could be. I don't necessarily disagree with you. That's why I like stylistically, I like the fight a lot. That fight was fun. Yeah, Abus and Strickland as a main event is a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. But I gotta give people opportunities, right? Some of the things we talked about, like, you know, the same people. I see a lot of people complaining at lightweight. Maybe some people complaining at middleweight too. Like, it's just the same names over and over and over and over. So you gotta sometimes give some opportunities. So it's definitely a weird one for me. It's not one that you just screams out to you. It's like, hell yeah, that's a main event. But got to give people opportunities. Oh, Colossium, Corey Newmar, I'm torn on that one.
Next to the scale, Orion Kosi.
I don't know if it picked up.
172.5.
Okay.
Official weight 172.5 for Orion Kosi.
Go ahead.
Yeah, 172.5. Didn't bother to try it behind the screen. Obviously, his underwear aren't going to weigh 1.5 pounds, so that might have been the reason for not even bothering with that. Now, whether or not they'll let him keep cutting, we'll wait to see. Kosi. I'm just saying his name. I always forget start saying their name wrong, but you see that really fast breathing. I don't know if that was clear or not. You know, I'm certainly no medical expert by any stretch, but that didn't necessarily look incredibly healthy. But we'll wait for the doctors to examine him. He seemed steady as he walked off. He did kind of punch the wall a little bit in frustration. We'll wait and see. At this point, though, 19 minutes left or so. We're just waiting on Vanessa Demopoulos at this point. Abbas will beat Strickland 100%, says Colostrum. Yeah, Zach, exactly. Trying to peek around the corner there and see if there's any discussion happening. I see UFC officials and commission officials speaking. Well, it looks like Orion is with the doctor at the moment. So just waiting on Vanessa Demopoulos. Orion Kosi, the first fighter to miss weight today. Awaiting word on that. Face-offs will be at the top of the hour, so we'll have those right here afterwards. Appreciate everybody that joined in this morning. It's been a while since we've been able to do one. Doctors talking to commission officials now. unfortunately. I can't make out what's going on.
So Lear wants to talk to you. You got a minute? Lear? Yeah, the one that is.
How many workers usually show up from the commission during weigh-ins? So there's usually 2 people out front, the person working the scale and the person recording the weights. And there's usually 2 doctors in the back. I mean, the doctors aren't necessarily part of the commission, but the doctors are there. The organization is actually required to provide them, but they are working in hand. But really, usually it's just 2 from the commission. Sean Shelby has made his way into the building, so looks like he'll be handling the face-offs once we get to that point. Still trying to pay attention to the scrambling over here on the side to see what's going on with Orion.
So I just can't seem to.
And still waiting on Vanessa Demopoulos as well. 15 minutes remains. I think I read that he's not cutting weight anymore, but it looks like Chris Costello is walking this way from the UFC PR. Let's see if he makes an official announcement. Oh, it looks like he's going to give it to Brendan Fitzgerald. But
Orion Kosi will not continue to cut weight, 172.5 official weight.
there is the official weight. All right, so there you heard the official announcement. Don't have a percentage yet. Let's see. Yeah, somebody in here definitely called. Who was that called that earlier? Speak up. Second consecutive weight miss. As Zach pointed out, that's exactly what he weighed against Blood Diamond as well. With it being a repeated weight miss, I'm guessing a 30% fine. Could be wrong. They may still just go 20, but with back-to-back fights, I'm guessing maybe that'll be a 30% fine. West Coast. Ridiculous. I like Vanessa. She's awesome. Non-stop energy. Always fun to interview with her. She wasn't on our media day this week, but during media day, she poked her head in the press room just to say hi to everybody. Super nice. All right, let's see. Alex Bowman. Dern Hill should have been the main. Buckley Fiala co-main. I wouldn't argue with that. That's going to be crazy. Edmund third. Michael fourth. Yeah, I mean, that's not too much different than the lineup actually is, right? There you go, MP. Educated chat. Hardcore's up in here. So 10 minutes left. Just Vanessa Demopoulos still to go. Ryan Kosey has missed weight. We await the fine percentage. I'm guessing 30%, but pure guess. Yeah, but GM, whoever called it, I can't remember who called it either, but they called it like an hour ago. They were still like, I mean, right? MP? Like, it wasn't just like they called it like 10 minutes ago. They called it like an hour ago, if I remember right. It was like early in the day. And again, missed weight last time, as you said, GM, so maybe it was just that. Okay, looks like commission making their way out, so I'm assuming that means Vanessa Demopoulos is ready.
Next to the scale, Vanessa Demopoulos. Official weight 117.5 for Vanessa Demopoulos.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling that was going to be a miss when you saw her body language walking out. I'm guessing she doesn't. She looked pretty bad.
Is that it?
I mean, we'll see what the doctors say, but she didn't look like she, she looked like she was hurting. Yeah, MP, you're still rubbing the sleep out of my eyes. So true. That was a long time ago.
We'll wait on official word for the doctors, but I'm guessing there's not going to be additional time for her. Like I said, even if they granted it to her, like she looked like she was pretty miserable. Good news is the face-offs are just a few minutes away. Terrible West Coast, you're terrible.
It's hot, so you need to be on line level. Because I listen to from him, and it's coming up. So you're set at mic, that's why it's coming
That's why.
I just
Oh, well.
finally cleaned it.
Damn
It's fucking internet.
it. Good call. I use my phone the whole time.
I've been switching between 3 different lines, and it's like all of them shit.
Cold Coffee wants to say hi to everybody?
Hey, everybody.
I was getting flickering too. I don't know what was causing it, man. I was getting this weird flickering earlier. It's the room? It's some kind of like interference or
It
something.
could be the electricity, depending on what frame rate it is, or if
Yeah.
you have a shutter on.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you shutter, if it's not, if it's too much, it will cause artifacts.
Ah, that makes sense. That's why the mics were. It's not your. No, it's you're good. It's me.
An hour and 54 minutes in, we have audio and video issues addressed. Now let's go.
No, it's all good. It worked. Yeah. Can we start this over now that we know what the setup problem was? Troubleshooting has been done. Too funny. That was our audio issues earlier. That was on me. Flickering, they're saying maybe the room itself. That's weird. I've never seen that before. Huh, I wonder if it was some kind of wireless interference. Interesting. Oh well. Thank you for everybody who stuck through the technical issues this morning so that we could still sit here and have a fun chat. I always enjoy chatting with you guys. Trying to look around and get official word on Vanessa Demopoulos. I think anybody that watched kind of felt the same, that was probably about it for her. See Chris Costello walking this way. She's done. Announcement about to be made.
Vanessa Demopoulos will not continue to cut weight, so we're done with the weigh-ins.
All right, that is removed. I'm going to take 1 second here to adjust for the face-offs. Give me 1 moment. We'll lose video for just a second. Oh, and we're flickering right on cue, baby, right on cue. Joe McKenna, appreciate you. I agree. Buckley Fiala looks like it's going to be great.
Jamming.
All right, fighters being lined up right now. We'll keep our fingers crossed that this ridiculous flickering doesn't pick up while we get our face-offs. Mahashati Borshev could be a great fight as well. I think that has stylistically could be a lot of fun. There could be some fun fights on this one. There could be some fun fights. Keep our fingers crossed. All right, I'm going to go Corey Davis, 2 weight misses. The last 2 to hit the scale, Ryan Kosi and Vanessa Demoblis. Fine amounts have not been revealed for Orion. That's back-to-back, so I'm guessing maybe 30. For Vanessa, I guess 20. I'm going to move into position to shoot photos of the face-offs, which should be starting very shortly. Yeah, after you try for like 5 minutes.
So it's Kosi and Arena and Carolina Demopoulos.
Quick announcement, both fighters that miss weight fined 20%. Both fights still a go.
All right, so just 20% for both. My assumption was wrong. No, Andre, that's not true. Repeated weight misses are fine with increasing amounts. I mean, somebody can be fined 30% for a significant weight miss, but yes, when it's a frequent weight miss, oftentimes the amount is increased. All right, looks like we're ready to go.
All right, everybody, we will see you tomorrow at the UFC Apex on ESPN+. Sean Shelby here going to stare these fighters down. First bout is in the welterweight division. Temba Gorimbo takes on Takashi Sato. Up next, we are in the women's flyweight division. Victoria Leonardo takes on Natalia Silva. Next up, we move to the lightweight division. Nick Fiore battles Chase Hooper. next is our lone heavyweight bout of the card. Rodrigo Nascimento squares off against Ilir Latifi. Next, we move to the welterweight division. Gilbert, excuse me. We move to the welterweight division. Gilbert Urbina takes on strawweight division. Vanessa Demopoulos takes on Karolina Kowalkiewicz. And our featured prelude is in the lightweight division. Vyacheslav Barshaw takes on Mahashate. That's our featured prelim at lightweight. Our 5-fight main card also on ESPN+. First fight is at lightweight. Michael Johnson takes on Diego Fajeda. Next up, we're in the welterweight division. Joaquin Buckley takes on Andre Fialho. Next up, the bout in the women's catchweight, 120 pounds. Lupi Godinez takes on Emily Ducote. Up next, we're in the middleweight division. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez takes on Edmund Shabazian. And our main event tomorrow, 5 rounds between 2 strawweight contenders. 14th ranked Angela Hill takes on 8th ranked Mackenzie Dern. Angela Hill and Mackenzie Dern, we will see you tomorrow at the UFC Apex.
All right, there you have it. We're all set up for tomorrow afternoon. Again, apologies for the little technical challenges we were having on the way, but I appreciate everybody surviving through it all, and enjoyed chatting with everybody. We'll see you at the fights tomorrow. No UFC next week, but Fury Professional Grappling on UFC Fight Pass next Saturday night. Tune into that. Thanks, everybody.